All right, so today I want to talk about the reasons why I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad, at least for the next year or so, possibly more. Not necessarily like all the horrible decisions I made to get to the point where we are now, more so based off of our current situation, why this is what we believe is the best path forward. And this is based off of not just me coming to this conclusion on my own, which has been an issue I've had in the past, particularly when it comes to these side hustles, right? Just going off, me selecting what the side hustle is going to be, doing it on my own without any other outside feedback. Again, that'll be a topic for a different day. But this is something that after my wife and I had a long conversation about this past weekend, which was actually sparked by me doing these video journals. So I'm really glad that I started doing these. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. Also started a new workout split because I want to. This is also motivating me to work out again. So two positives of just recording my rants is sparking real life conversations and I guess positively developing my communication skill, ability to bring these things up with my wife, and having this conversation this weekend where we talked about things that I necessarily haven't verbalized before. Maybe she hasn't either. But also it's kind of motivated me to want to come and do these. And since I'm doing them in the gym, I get to work out. So I'm doing like an upper lower push pull legs 5 days a week. So I'm gonna hit my first workout and then hop back and jump into the topic, or jump into the question, not the topic. All right. One anchor point note for myself is that I in the past couple of videos I felt myself in the moment not necessarily thinking about saying things based off of trying to figure it out or whatever. Basically, I was trying to say things based off of what would sound great in a clip, a 60-second clip, right? Say something with a hook, and then whatever else afterwards with that hook to make it into a story. And I need to stop doing that. I need to stop that thought, get out of performance mode. I've done this content before in a professional setting, so it has to be like that. And so it's like a muscle memory where I immediately go back to thinking, okay, how do I say this in a way that makes it sound good so it gets viewers? And that's not why I'm doing this. At least not the primary reason, right? Obviously, part of me wants this to do really well and resonate with people because that'll make me feel good, knowing that other people are going through the same thing. Also for the validation of people saying, hey, it's okay. People make mistakes. What you're doing is fine. But more of a mental note and an actual hard copy physical note to stop doing that. I gotta stop doing that. But so back to what I wanted to talk about. So the conversation I had with my wife, which again was sparked by doing these videos. The kind of overall premise was, okay, we are where we are, and sure, it's important to look at the past to extract lessons and see where things went wrong and identify repeatable patterns, which is something I definitely want to do, because I don't want to keep making the same mistakes, obviously. But the conversation was less about, it kind of started like that, of me just saying man, I'm doing these videos and I keep thinking of all these mistakes that I made, and regrets that I have and things I feel guilty for. And she kind of pushed me and said, hey, don't do that. That's not very helpful, in a sense of what to do next, right? Instead of just focusing on all the things that went wrong, yeah, I'm gonna extract lessons, as I said, but also, what are we gonna do now, kind of thing. And so we're trying to figure out what would be best. And kind of the first question that popped into my mind was, okay, if we had our ideal life, like what would it look like? And what it look like, and then based on that, how do we get from where we are now to there as fast as possible? And the ideal life would not be her working and me staying home with the kids. So, okay, so we're not in that situation. So how do we get there? And there's many different ways to obviously get there. It's something where right now, right, one of the variables is like time. It's like, when do we get there? Do we get there now? Do we get there in a year from now? Do we get there 5 years from now? Or do we not even necessarily put a timeline on it? It's more so of, okay, maybe, because obviously the least painful in the short term would just be to do it now. But there's long-term consequences that could potentially come from that. And I was kind of reflecting on when I was a cop. That's kind of what happened there. What's like, hey, we had this idea of how I'm going to get a job that can ultimately allow you to stay home. But little did we realize that when I was a cop, we're like, oh, this is not the lifestyle that we want to have whatsoever, of me leaving and you just never being there. So it's kind of like, hey, like if you just leave now, it's kind of like we got to figure out exactly what I would do, and it's okay. So right now probably doesn't make sense just because we don't want to like rush things. So we want to be at least a little bit patient and figure out what it is that I can actually do to kind of meet that ideal lifestyle that we have. But again, also we don't want to wait super long time where the kids are all in school full time and then she finally gets to leave her job and then no one's here, because that's not fair either, right? So then the other thing is like the unknown aspects of it, right? Because let's say I were to somehow, this is just like hypothetically, I was like, okay, so let's say I get like a W-2 job right now and you can leave. So how's that going to change kind of our current lifestyle? Because for her job, we'd be like, no, it's like a no. We understand that she works from home, she travels sometimes, but because she's grinded for so long, she has the flexibility now to kind of like during this past school year, anything that she wanted to do with the kids activity wise or like things they had going on at school, she didn't really have to miss any of that. Whereas because she put in that time, right? Whereas if I'm going to start over from scratch at some W-2 job, I've not put that time in left yet. So I'm like not going to be here. I'm going to go from always being here for the past 3 years, but then I was a cop, and before that it was basically our entire marriage I worked from home, and then I had that brief moment of being a cop where I wasn't there and did not go great at all. Is that what we want, right? Is it worth you not working and staying home with the kids and then me like never being there? And we tried that and it didn't really work. So okay, so now we understand that the ideal lifestyle is you not working, me working, but it being flexible. And is that possible from not only a finding a job perspective, but like can we maintain our current lifestyle, which most likely we can, just because we're in a super lucky spot where, not lucky, well, lucky for me because I didn't really earn any of this, right? But because of her job, and no reason to go into particulars, but there was like a moment in time where she made extra money, and we were use that to pay off our cars, pay off our house, like get like a really big like savings fund, put money in like for college for our kids. So it's like if she were like to lose her job today, we would be fine at our current like burn rate for probably like 5 to 10 years. So then that's kind of like, okay, well then why doesn't she just quit right now? And you've got 5 to 10 years to figure something out. And then if you can't figure out in 5 years, at least that the kids are like gone now, and then she can go back, and then you can go back to generating income that way. And that's an interesting one that I don't necessarily know what to do with that, because that like definitely seems like a possible solution, and it's kind of what we landed on. It's just, again, the issue is like, what am I going to do? And because we don't necessarily need the money to like survive, and it's more so of identifying what I can do around like the lifestyle, as opposed to the other way around, like getting a job and then based on that job what our lifestyle can be. It's like no, like we want this particular lifestyle of like me being here and available. If we want to go on a vacation, we can do that. If the kids have an activity, we can do that. If something happens where I got to rush the kid to the doctor or whatever, some sort of emergency, like I can do that, and I'm not like on a sales call or traveling somewhere. So, does that even exist? We don't know, but that's kind of where we land. It's like, okay, this is the life we want, and it's going to involve me, not me, but her not working, me working, but it has to be a flexible enough job where I'm still around. So basically, work from home, and doesn't have to be forcing hours during the day. That's kind of where we landed. Another thing is too is again my wife's job is super super flexible, as I said, and like she makes so much money. We're just kind of like it's very very difficult. And again, this could just be something that we need to work on of like pros and cons, which is the entire conversation. It's like kind of weighing these pros and cons. It's like man, I don't want to give like specifics, but it's like you've worked 15 plus years to get to the point where you're making all this money. And I wouldn't say barely working, but like not having to work crazy hours, right? Like the dollar per hour is like ridiculous, is insane. So we're really going to throw all that away, all that effort and time you put in, and give up kind of all that relatively easy money, kind of on like a rush decision. So let's at least think about this, and once we make the decision, kind of be like comfortable with it and realize kind of what we're giving up. So it's tricky, it's confusing. I don't necessarily know exactly what the answer is, because again, I'm like, am I just falling back into old patterns of avoiding wanting to work, and maybe focusing more on the cons of her leaving and me working, as opposed to the pros. And one of the biggest cons of that scenario of me working and her leaving her job is just that kind of all that income we have coming in will be cut drastically. And again, we don't need it necessarily, but at the same time, basically what it is it could possibly change, right? She could lose her job, or the job could develop where she gets a promotion and she has to work longer hours or travel more. I think if that happens, then that is a bigger reason why she should leave. But right now, it doesn't make sense to leave that good of a job. Because again, she can do most of the things that she wants to do with the kids anyway. She just is not there 24/7 the entire day. But she takes them to school, right? And she does her work. She can schedule meetings around any known appointments. Right? If something comes up in the moment, she might not necessarily be able to do it. But again, this could just be complete cope. And I'm totally open to that, which is why I want to think about it more. But it does not make sense. So that's kind of why, basically, why I'm staying home. So I ranted way longer than I wanted to. But again, this is all about me. This is all about me working through this, and if it's long, then that means that most likely means that there's things that I didn't think about beforehand, which is why I'm doing this, right? Which I talked about on the last video, the last journal, which is this idea of you think you got it all figured out in your head, and you definitely do not, and you have to write it out, you have to verbalize it, and even when you do that, it still might not make sense, but it'll make a lot more sense saying it out loud than it will just keeping it in your head. So again, I got all right. So I'm gonna hit this next set, and then think of, if I think of anything else, I'll come back. But I got most out. I got most of what I wanted to say out. It's like we have a life that we have. This life that we have now is not the life we want. But if we had this life, it would be okay. It's not ideal, but it would be okay. And we're both willing to kind of sacrifice getting every single thing that we want if it's what's best for the family. And what's best for the family right now is for me to stop pretending I'm this trader or doing these side hustles and focusing on that, and then having that be the priority over what I should be doing, which is, or what I'm going to do, which is that the kids and the family is the priority. And then the same thing for her. Well, this is actually one interesting thing on that same note is because we're gonna have our priorities. Like my priority is the kids. Her priority is working. That's number one priority, and both of that is being done for the family. So beforehand, in my mind, my highest priority was I got to figure out how to have some side hustle that can generate enough income so that she can leave her job. And that's all I was thinking about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so when I was with the kids, when I was with her at night, or while I was sleeping, or I was doing anything but the side hustle, all I was thinking about was I'm losing time. Right? This is a minute. This is a minute that I'm not spending on the side hustle, which is delaying the goal of replacing the income by 1 minute. And every day it's just ticking. I see the minutes turning into hours, turning into days, and turning into weeks, turning into months, and it's just delaying. And so I'm irritated constantly. Right? I'm rushing through things. I'm rushing through bedtime. I'm rushing through bath time. I'm rushing through everything because I want to get back to my office to do my side hustle. Right? And then on the flip side for her, she's at work and all she's thinking about is the things that she's missing, or the things that you don't know. Yeah, basically the things that she's missing with the kids. And so at the end of the day, that makes her feel guilty. So at the end of the day, we're both kind of feeling guilty of the roles that we're in. Whereas I wish I remember, because I saw this summer this weekend. It's because I was again for my own validation, looking up like stay-at-home dad videos to get external validation that it's okay. And somewhere I saw them talking about how it was like one of these like Dave Ramsey tangent like shows. It was like it's like some Dr. Dan something. I don't remember. But someone called in, and again the situation wasn't exactly like ours. But basically he was wanting to stay home, but with his kid, but at the end of the day, kind of similar to what I was saying. At the end of the day, if he didn't do anything work-wise, like he was just with this kid, he felt guilty. He's like, oh man, he's like I didn't do anything today. I accomplished nothing today. And the Dr. Dan guy said, like, no, like you, like once you are committing to saying I'm taking care of my kid, I'm taking care of my family, then like that's what you're supposed to do that day. So at the end of the day, like if you didn't work, that's fine, because that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of your kids, right? Or vice versa. If you are feeling guilty at the end of the day because you're not with your kids, and because you were working or whatever, but that's what you were supposed to do, then like don't feel guilty because you did what you were supposed to do for your family, right? I mean, this even reminds me of me, right? Like I remember like I would do dishes, and I'd be super pouty doing the dishes. I'm like, why am I doing this? She should do this, or or not even that she should do it. It's just because this is so stupid, but this is how I thought. So I'd be doing the dishes, and I'd be pouting about it. I'd be thinking, she's not appreciating me for doing this, or why does she never do the dishes? Why am I always doing them? Right? Just complaining in my head. And again, I'm the kind of person. This is not something I'm proud of, and something I'm definitely getting better at 1,000%, like so much better at this. But if I have an issue like that, I would just hold it in and it'd build up over days and weeks, and then eventually I would just like blow up, and it would blow up over something, but it wouldn't be that thing that I'm blowing up over. It would be the past like week or month of things stacked up together that I'm blowing up over. And so I remember I didn't necessarily blow up, but I just kind of said something. And she was like, no, like you're not doing dishes for me. You're doing the dishes like for your family. Or you're not doing these things for me. You're doing them for your family. And that like shift was like, I never thought about that before. Like I didn't even get defensive in the moment. I was like, that's a good point. Like you don't want to be doing what you're doing either. Like what am I complaining about, right? I've got a million examples of these things. Like sometimes I have no clue why I do what's wrong with me. Like I've done the most ridiculous, like mean, nasty things in the past, and I mean, and maybe that's something worth investigating because I kind of know why, but and it's like obviously it's something that I've gotten better at. Like and not like a short-term thing too, like something that I've gotten better at over the course of the past like 6 months, where I'm doing it so much less. But yeah, going back to the original point, or the original idea was not like I think now we kind of both have our priority, and as long as we do that at the end of the day, then we did what we were supposed to do, and we're fine with that. And just like having that shift in the past week, I'm already better with the kids, better with my wife, and not as like I'm not being as irritable all the time, and pouty and moody. It's more just moody, like just being moody completely unnecessarily, and just being super dramatic. Now I can still get better at this. Like I still am moody, but the swings are way less. It's more of shorter of less extreme swings, or if I do have an extreme swing, it comes down a lot faster as opposed to lasting like multiple days. So okay, anyways, I'm gonna go work out.